Is that what it says?
43% alcohol by volume.
I'm
86 proof.
worried if that's not good. I want to have the
water.
drop time for back.
Water sucks.
It
really sucks.
Unless it's brown water.
Jesus Christ. You guys are something else.
Pinky up.
Good form. Great form.
You
The
go.
pause was,
The balancer.
as they say in Italy.
Okay, we got the clap. I mean,
Here we go, boys.
This is
And the drip.
Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag. You hunt how you want.
Go with the one.
This is Okayest Hunter.
I'm gonna pour that back in the bottle.
Yeah, it was a little spicy
It's a
for
little
you.
rough.
I don't
Not
think it's
as-
that bad.
It's not as smooth as it's got like a. It's like just punching me right in the eye socket or something.
Got a bit of a weird sour punch. to
hurting
it.
my sinuses.
You need to go blow your nose and you need to go wash your mouth out. It's fine.
Ooh,
Grandpa Greg's in the house tonight.
we got a winner.
Grandpa? Grandpa?
You did not like that.
Oh.
You're not going to be happy when this old man whoops your ass.
Ooh.
Do you like Grandpa Greg more,
Get him, Papa.
more or less
Some
than
bitch.
Tinker Tubbs?
Tinker?
Tinker
I
Tubbs.
don't like either of them. Garbage.
What did someone say the other day? You can't pick the nickname.
That's
No,
what
you
Matt
can't.
said. That's the thing about a
Yeah.
nickname.
You
You don't
don't
get to
pick it.
pick
That's
it.
the one we call
That's right, Grandpa Greg.
Tyler's
Tinker
Tyler's
Tubbs.
truck. It's not Silverback. It's the Muttmobile.
It is. He has a lot of dogs in that thing all the time.
It reeks like a dog.
Nothing against Tyler because he trains the dogs. The dogs are amazing. But I got punched in the face by a dog smell like
Yep.
so hard when I
Yep.
sat down in that truck.
Yeah, that is very intense.
He shop vacked it for me. So which is nice.
Oh, that
Which
was
is nice.
So they
Very
got
nice.
that going for him.
Yeah.
Cool. Welcome to the show. This is the Okayest Hunter podcast coming at you from the Okayest Hunter podcast studio, brought to you by half-rack.com. That was all one breath.
Wow.
Use code OHB at checkout. Save yourself some money. We have heard from our partners that people actually redeem the code.
Yes.
Does us no good. But it does you a lot of good as a listener to use that code. And I think it's 15% at Half Rack. So go check them out. Lots of accessories. Their new meat lug is out. Going to be out soon. I should have gotten that clarification before I jumped onto a live broadcast podcast. But one is on its way here. So I'll just maybe talk about it next week when I have it in hand. Let's see how many beers we can fit in there for starters, because we don't have a lot of meat yet.
This is true.
Season's coming.
I mean, Greg lays down 5 does again. We'll see how effective the meat
We'll
lug
put
really
that
is.
meat lug to the test.
That's
We'll put
right.
it to the test.
We will put it to the test. We will put it to the test. Say it with your chest. Put it to the
Oh, Lord.
And Latitude Outdoors, code OHP will save you a confirmed 15% off site-wide.
Ooh,
So
it's everything.
hold on to your wallet because you're about to lose all your money. Go spend it. Go have some fun. The sticks are great. They've been shipping. I've been seeing people calming down on the internet, like Taylor Swift said, 7 a.m., calm down. And you're surprised.
What does she have to do with
You're
this?
surprised I'm quoting
Anyway.
Taylor Swift for the
No, I'm not.
18th time in 100 plus episodes.
Just gonna look down and shake my head slowly.
Someday she will write a song about you.
That would make my life. Are you
I'm
kidding
sure
me?
it would.
Like, why would you say that?
Sure
To
it would.
me? Anyway, yeah. Spartan Forge is getting some use by Derek. The Northwoods video you did, you were showing some fancy screenshots. I did a good job hiding masking the latitude and longitude, the
That is-
coordinates.
That's appreciated.
That was a panic moment in the last one of those I ever did for you. Eric, take it down.
Eric, the coordinates are all over that.
Been live for 3 minutes. You got coordinates live.
you got coordinates live, but
Yeah, that was a fast way to. Yeah, you probably should have got me a bottle of Malort for that one.
no, I think that was just a mental in my brain freak out. Nothing really happened.
I mean, I don't know. It could have been leaked.
So there's like 15 people that are opening day. I'm like, that freaking
I was
Clark.
like, Derek, no one watches our YouTube channel. I think you're safe.
Safe. We're safe.
But I had to delete it and re-upload it because you can't swap out a video on YouTube. Once it's out, and then if you wanted to do something, you got to start all over again.
The damage is done.
Yeah. But Spartan Forge code OHP saves you 20% on an annual subscription, but you don't necessarily need that because you can go try it out for free. Take a look, poke around, see what you like. The time-lapse stuff is pretty impressive. The detail of the maps is the most impressive. The LiDAR is on the horizon, coming out soon. Other than that, they have the slope angle where you can adjust to see hills and terrain with the topo lines that I always forget the proximity at which they're in. I think they're down to like 5 feet or something ridiculous. So if you're looking for a hidden notch or knob is what I meant to say.
Ditch or
It'll show up there, and
all
you'll
the
see
crevices.
because you can't see all that stuff with the vegetation. So when LiDAR comes out, it's kind of neat to, especially doing some e-scouting stuff. I think it's critical.
Well, yeah, and you can see it on some of the guys who are, on the pro staff who get, they test it out.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them post screenshots and
I know, I
little
keep thinking,
videos.
like,
and
did it
like,
come
man,
out? Did it come out? Did it come
cool.
out? I'm
It
like,
looks really cool.
I keep seeing it, but I don't have it yet. So, anywho, certainly not least, go wild. Time to go wild.com. Again, code OHP will save you some money over there. However, you can save yourself some money by just logging activities out there, whether you're on a hike, shooting your bow, listening to a podcast. It doesn't really matter. Just post. And it's kind of like, it feels like work, like, because you got to log your time, clock in, clock out kind of thing almost. But the end result is you get a lot of points. Those points equal dollars and you can save money. So I just got an email today, like, see what your points have been up to. And I'm like, what have my points been up to? Can I get some trail cam, cell cams? And I can save a lot of money because I'm a Go Wild user just like the rest of us. So definitely promoting that. I do see our podcast getting tagged quite a bit, especially Greg's favorite one, the Okayest Fisher, that he candidly co-hosts.
Ooh.
See what you did there.
Check out. Yeah, we have other podcasts on our. We have a network now. I don't know if anyone's been paying attention. I suspect they haven't. So I'll just give you a quick update. We have the Okayest Fisher podcast, as we just mentioned. We have Up Duck. We're going to call it Ducklander, and then we quickly found out that there's a call company called Ducklander Calls, and someone made me aware of that, and I was like, uh-oh, whoops. And I thought I did my research, so I called the owner, and I was like, my bad, dude. I didn't mean to like name this thing after your business that you've had for like 20 years. So great name though on the business. I see why you picked that name. Very catchy. But I will yield, sir.
Before I get that cease and desist.
And I was like, and he was a great sport about it. He's like, yeah, it's fine, man. But nonetheless, Upduck is way more on brand anyway. What's up, Duck? So that's one. It's dogs are the through line, like, of commonality, and then up for upland, duck for duck, waterfowl. So it's a blend of upland and waterfowl hunting with the through line of dogs, dog training, dog hunting, and not dog hunting, but hunting with dogs. God, I got to get my shit together today. Lastly, we have just added the Onset podcast with Elizabeth Brownell, aka the Rookie Hunter, on social. And she's doing a great job, great demeanor, great representation of the Okayestness brand ethos, if you will. So check that out. It's all things outdoors, not just hunting, but certainly hunting is it'll definitely fill a lot of episodes. But she's like gardening and homesteading, or not homesteading, but like trying to live off of her garden and her hunting harvest as much as she can. I think that's all of them for now. There's more coming. So I'm going to try to not like drop anything.
You're not going to spill the beans?
I'll keep the beans in the can.
Attaboy.
But anyway, I don't know. We did a tour of Vortex yesterday.
Hey, we've been together like 3 out of the last 4 days.
Best friends
that's why
that anyone could have.
I've gotten
the
6
best
nuggies,
three friends that anyone could have.
We're not sick of each other yet, I don't think.
Yeah, we got to do the BHA State Rendezvous. We did shot a few arrows, hung out there. Got to see all the BHA guys, which was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday.
Yes, it was.
Yesterday, holy cow! Yeah, yesterday we got to go check out Vortex.
That was neat. Really, really awesome facility. Really nice people, and there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on there. 100-yard range, 50-yard range, 25-yard range, test range, lots of night vision stuff. Even
Vortex Edge, go check that out. I mean, there's probably several YouTube videos on it, but go check out Vortex Edge. That's a pretty awesome place.
The whole place is awesome. The people are great. Ton of fun. Greg, I think, really enjoyed the dogs more than anything.
Hey, I like dogs.
It was pretty
look
cool
over,
to see all the dogs.
and he's just
Yeah.
like, check this out, I'm petting this dog over here. Smile from grin to grin.
The dog literally looked at me and said, "Hey, human, come over here. I need you to pet me."
They let humans in this place?
Yeah, so we've been busy over here. There's been a lot going on, it feels like. Certainly not as much as Vortex. We're not a real business.
No, not a place that employs 400 people.
You feel a lot
just-
less real
Yeah.
walking into that place.
Yeah.
There's a handful of us, and I feel overwhelmed. Could imagine. Anyway, we do have a guest with us today, so we're going to go ahead and bring him on. Not full screen. My bad, dude.
Oh, you're good.
Linden, Loren, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're excited to talk to you. So a little background here. Linden, I don't remember exactly how we came in contact, but I think it was like in 2019. It may have been around the time the world started to get a little kittywampus,
Yeah.
and we were doing a lot of virtual networking. So it could have been the case that we met on LinkedIn or were introduced by a mutual friend or something. Maybe you remember. I don't.
Yeah, I think it was through LinkedIn, and one of our probably mutual friends posted something and then commented or something along those lines, and it just kind of happened. Connection.
Yeah. And back then, you're like writing a book. I was like, hey, I've got this podcast. Holy shit, Greg.
No judgments here.
Not judging. I was just not expecting.
Getting after
I thought I was the one with a long day.
it.
Kelly's sipping over here. Anyway, no, and you were writing a book back then. And I was like, you should join the podcast and shoot the breeze about that. And you're like, well, I'll do it when I finish the book. And so it's 2023 now, and the book has been published. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about.
Do we have a publishing party?
That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, there it is.
Hey,
Cheers.
cheers.
That's why we're drinking.
Congrats,
Celebrate
man.
something. There it is.
Yeah,
Big
thanks.
feet. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
So what inspired you to write a book? Maybe I guess I always get ahead of myself here. Let's unpack. Who are you? Where are you from?
Yeah.
Let's start there, and then we'll build up.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds good. So Linden, Loren, I'm from a small town, Brookings, Oregon. So it's the last coastal town on the border of California. Really good blacktail deer hunting. Grew up there, did a bunch of hunting. Eventually, moved up to a little bit more central of Brookings into like this Willamette Valley, which is currently where I'm at, Corvallis, Albany. I ended up teaching at a high school professionally, and then I'm at a university now, overseeing a bunch of departments. And I'm also a father, husband. I have a 2-year-old son and a little princess on the way in a few months. So we're pretty excited about that. And yeah, I think in terms of the book, I wish I could give you a really cool, badass story. But it actually happened because a business before that failed. So just to give some context, you did say something occurred kind of that year. Everyone knows it's COVID, right? The March of 2020, I was very close to launching a nutrient-dense food bar specifically for hunters that we'd been working on.
I remember now.
Yes, for a year and a half. And we were pretty close with manufacturing and co-packing. We had everything situated, and the company we were going through put a pause on all new projects right as COVID happened because they needed to preserve funding. And so that was definitely a punch in the chest. And so I was sitting on the couch, a little deflated, and I watched a random YouTube video of someone who had written and published a book in a year. And I thought, is it that easy? Which obviously we know that it's probably not, because their book was quite different. And yeah. Anyways, so I just did a quick search to see if there was something that existed with just an idea I had, because I felt that I had so much good momentum going into this bar, especially with like connections and partnerships, that I just didn't want to let it go to waste. And so I just did a quick search, and I didn't see anything that existed that kind of merged my love for hunting and a little bit of my passion for the health sciences, my academic background, and here we are. I thought I was going to do it within a year. Obviously, that's false. So it took about 4 years and a million revisions, and I worked with a publishing company, and it's been quite the journey. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't first of all, that chest punch must have really hurt. That's hard, and you seem to have parlayed that pretty quickly. So good for you for keeping your spirits up. I'm sure outside looking in is very different than being in the throes of that and being the guy in the field as the narrative goes. But kudos to you for powering through. I can't imagine what goes into writing a book in and of itself. But then also, I imagine you probably have to, I don't know if you have to pay a publishing company or how that works. But that sounds like that would be difficult to navigate too. And I'm not trying to do a podcast on how to publish a book. That might be a different conversation because I'm a little curious.
Yeah.
But how did you even the word health span? I don't know that that's a term I've heard very often or ever actually. And when you say hunting health span, can you break down kind of, because your bars were going to kind of speak to something similar as far as a product in the category. So what does that mean to you, your hunting health span?
Yeah, so health span is a term that's just not used as frequently as lifespan. So lifespan, obviously, you're probably familiar with is the duration of your life. So whether you're 89 or you're 7 years old, however long you're going to live, health span is the quality of your health within that period of time. So I decided to use that as the term because it's great to not only live longer so you can experience more opening days, and hunt more, but also to have those quality of years really good, mentally and physically just feel like you can crush everything. And so that's kind of why I use that term. Your hunting health span essentially refers to the state of your physical, mental, and spiritual well-being in relation to experiencing more opening days. So if your overall health is better, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be able to experience more opening days and hunt more. And that's kind of the whole intent of this book, is to help hunters experience more opening days. I mean, I definitely noted it in the book many times that people kill huge elk, huge deer, and not take care of their health. And there's that. But I'm more interested in how do I help hunters experience more opening days? So instead of 5 more years of deer hunting, they get 15 more. And I would choose 15 over 5. So hopefully the resource has been put together well enough so that I can fulfill that for the community.
Obviously a very worthwhile topic. And the first thing that came to my mind as you're talking about health span is not only experiencing more opening days, but being able to hunt the way you want to, right? Because there's a lot of different ways to get out for things, but the healthier you are, the more you can do, obviously. And being able to experience those things in the way that you've remembered them or the way that you really love to do it is obviously important to all of us. So I think that's very worthwhile.
Yeah, it's oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, yeah, I suppose it is like Derek's saying. If I can't get up that hill, that's a different hunt than if I can be yeah, it's no problem. Just that, but that's just the physicality part.
Just being a mobile hunter. I mean, you need to be in shape.
Some sort of shape, and round might not be. I know Bill Round's a shape.
Round
That's not the shape we're talking about.
And out west, round is great for going down, but not great for going up.
Yeah, it's I mean, I think it's always good to reflect and be we are given only one life, and just make the best of it. In fact, I think they actually just did the odds. They just calculated the odds at Harvard. There was a scientist a few years back on the chances of being born into a human body. I think it's 1 in 400 trillion. So they took into account dinosaurs, the fact that your parents met on a certain day, conception, all that. So if you think of 1 in 400 trillion, you basically have a better chance of seeing a unicorn and a Sasquatch than you do being born into a human body. So make the most of the life you're given.
Yeah, Gary Vee needs to go back and redo his video where he's like, "You have a 1 in 2 billion chance of becoming a human. You better Monday." He's talking on the streets of New York to whoever's holding the camera,
oh gosh,
still pretty big.
Yeah,
the odds are pretty small.
Yeah, you hit the jackpot though. You're a human. You're here. You're present. You're life is. You're alive. You're not below ground, or you're not ashes floating in some river. You're here.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it sounds like there's probably a couple different like ways to compartmentalize this, or like think about it. You mentioned spiritual. Like I think hunting gives us a lot of that spirituality or connection, but also that like battery recharging of getting us, like if I don't go hunting, or at least I should say this, when I do go hunting during hunting season, even though I'm detracting a little bit from having 3 kids, which by the way, congratulations. And you're screwed because once 3 comes, you're outnumbered, and you go from coverage to zone, and it's good luck. I'll tell you
Well,
that.
I'm not at 3 yet. We're gonna be at 2, but
My bad. I thought it was going to be 3. Okay.
yeah, number 2. So I still got a little time, but
You're good. Two's easy. Just walk in the park.
Enjoy the next 2 seasons.
But my thought is like, I'm usually in much higher spirits and feeling far more recharged and like, I don't know, bountiful. Like I'm happy because I got time in the woods. I feel like I've grounded myself. I've like slowed down. I've chilled out. Meanwhile, my wife is getting in worse condition because she's, dealing with our 3 kids even more than normal. So it's a little imbalanced in that perspective, but she gets a much better version of me. Sorry guys, I had the camera on you guys. I'm trying to do the thing here. When I've gone hunting. So it's a little double-edged sword because it's a better version of me, but there's also maybe a little bit less of me than normal. So it is kind of interesting. Short of the family component, the better version of me is interesting. So I'm wondering, what I'm leading up to ask here is, how do you get better spirituality outside of hunting so you can hunt more? That's what I'm curious about. And if that's something you discuss in your book.
yeah, I is probably sprinkled throughout it. In terms of, I think it's asking yourself, if I was just to simplify things, it's asking yourself where you want to spend your time and where your energy feels good. And if you feel like there's things in life outside of hunting, the off season, that is sucking you dry of maybe negative energy, then it's hopefully you could be in a position where you can strategically minimize whatever those situations, moments, or environments are, and put yourself in better positions. And when during the off season you feel like your energy is a little bit better, um, cognitively speaking, like mentally, then it seems as if the word grateful starts peeking in a little bit more. And when you start being more grateful for things outside of hunting during the off season, it makes the experience of hunting tenfold more meaningful and worthwhile. So I think
Give me an
yeah,
example. Actually, I want to go a little deeper here.
yeah, in terms of being grateful.
Yep.
Yeah, so I dive into it a little bit in the book. So, for example, I provide an example in there where I met an individual a few years ago by the name of Owen. My wife at the time was taking care of him. He has a genetic disorder where he can't verbally communicate or move, independently speaking. So he communicates with his eyelids, and I think when I had first met him, sorry, I think when I had first met him, there were some internal realizations that occurred. My uncle, and I say this in the book as well. Like my uncle flipped his car when he was 18 and became paralyzed, and that's who I was named after. So when I met Owen, it was another degree higher of accessibility in terms of what he could do. And I think when I met him, a, another light switch occurred where I just felt internally more grateful for the ability to write, the ability to say I love you to my wife, the ability to drive, move, lift up this pencil to write. It made a lot of other things in life tenfold. Um, yeah, it's hard to explain because there's so much emotion filled in it. That's just one example. So it's maybe you meet someone down the road, or so forth, or you go travel. I mean, I mentioned that I traveled to Ensenada, Mexico, and helped build a house for an orphan family of 8 and one mother, and that was pretty impactful on me too. So I think there's a lot of different environmental or people that you can meet that really, if you really look at it from a broad point of view, you can absorb your current position and theirs and reflect deeply. And when that occurs, hopefully, you have the ability to become a little bit more grateful. And when you're a little bit more grateful during the off season, it seems like everything's pretty joyous, even when things don't go as well in the off season, which all of us have, in everyday life. The weight of those things don't seem as heavy when you can reflect and internalize these people or these environments that you are exposed to.
Yeah.
That kind of answer a little bit of it.
Oh, it does. That's heavy. That's a heavier answer than I was anticipating, and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's more detail in the book, but that is a perspective gained if you're looking at it that way. That can be fully appreciated. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. What am I? 37, and it takes me to pick up one kid, and all of a sudden I've torqued my back, and say torqued, and now I'm like, oh no, I can't move. And in that moment, obviously, I'm fine. And this is not in comparison or contrast whatsoever, but it is like, oh no, or I hurt my shoulder. I pulled my rotator cuff or something. And even in that moment, I'm like, I can't pull my bow back, or now I can't climb a tree. And I go into complete panic thinking, what am I going to do? The thing that I get so much fulfillment out of, I might not be able to participate in the same way. And just even small setbacks, not even as large as the magnitude you're talking about, have a deep impact. And so obviously people are going through those kinds of things. Their shoulders are wrecked. They can't, their back is ruined, they're whatever. So this health span concept is interesting. Like, it's very, very interesting. I would rather spend the latter half of my years spending as much time in the woods as I can than not, because it does give me so much fulfillment. On the nutrition side, though, that one's hard for everybody in many ways, especially given like the confines of our society.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's different for hunters because we do cherish. We talked about Elizabeth on the Onset podcast with her own garden. Greg's got a garden that he manages throughout the spring and summer, fall. Obviously, he's harvesting all sorts of wild game. We got the upduck guys shooting ducks and pheasants. So a lot of hunters' freezers are full of diverse, group of meat and plants.
Yeah.
And so maybe we're a different breed than others, but I imagine there's a pretty strong or tight line of communication in your book about some of that stuff.
Yeah, nutritionally speaking, I mean, it's as good as it gets, any kind of wild game or fish. But I'm also a huge fan of balance and what's realistic and manageable. So I always like to go off the rule of 50 in terms of what's manageable for 50 years. And I want to do that. Whatever that is, I want to do it because then I can be consistent. And so for me, like nutritionally speaking, I always advocate for having a treat every once in a while. So if you're out with your kids and they're at a birthday party and there's cake, go ahead and have that slice of cake. When you get home, maybe eat a little bit cleaner. Maybe you go out to the bar with your friends. Sure, have that beer. I think it's more realistic and manageable, long-term speaking, to have those things and not to have a tight leash around you. But if that's what you would like to do, that's perfectly fine. I like the nutritional or dietary guidelines that are like, what's manageable for 50 years that gets me results? I want to stick with that. So I'm a huge fan of a little of everything personally.
Yeah, we had Justin Syatt with Syatt Fitness on maybe a year ago, I think.
Yeah.
Big fitness guy in the fitness community. He was Gary Vaynerchuk's trainer for a couple years.
Oh, cool.
And he's got a very similar approach. Like, and in fact, it's really, if you follow him on the fitness, nutrition side and like health and working out, he's pretty fun. He's a fun follow because he'll tell people like it is, but in a really direct way. He's not being mean, but it's like, someone asked me this, should I be counting calories? He's like, let me break it down for you. And he really goes off of that, similar to your rule of 50. Like, what can you really do? Like, why don't you start by going for a walk every day? Like, you don't need to be running a marathon tomorrow, but like, you should probably walk every day. That's a very great choice. And that will help you. Blah, 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 blah. Great guest. Interesting conversation on the fitness side. You got a bunch of cool looking animals behind you. Is that a mountain lion? Like, did you?
So yeah, let me give you some context. I'm in one of my mentor's rooms and he's hunted all over. So this was just a little bit better setup. If I was home, then my son would have grabbed the computer and chucked it. He's 2 years old. So yeah, that's a mountain lion right there from British Columbia, I believe. So Canada. Yep. And then some blacktail right here. Tree stand. There's around me, there's a grizzly bear, billy goat, pronghorn, elk, lynx. So there's a little of everything in here. And I thought this was a perfect studio. I can't claim any of these. He's hunted for, he's hunted all over for about 30, 40 years. So much experience, way higher than me. But I just felt like it was the perfect backdrop. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah.
What's your game of choice? What are you after?
My go-to?
Yeah.
I would have to say rifle blacktail hunting in October in the Brookings area in Oregon is my favorite. I love when it's dumping rain, cold, and the rut's going. That is my favorite. In fact, if you guys ever want to hunt blacktail, we have an area that you can stay, cabin, and get it all situated for you.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Just shoot me an email. We'll get you situated. We could either do some glassing and spot and stock, or we can load some packs and pack 5 to 20 miles in, whatever your heart desires.
That'd be fun. I'm all about a blacktail hunt. That's on the list of
Oregon's
things to
achievable. I can get to Oregon.
Maybe I read a book and get my health and fitness in shape, and I can get out there. We can do a pack in here, Linden.
Packing.
Hey, whatever you want. Yeah, we can do whatever setup you want. We have everything. I have based off, just because of the book, there's already people that I'm taking hunting this October. So I think that is definitely. What did you say?
We got to get in line.
Yeah, I don't know if there's gonna be a line, but yeah, if you guys do, if you're interested, feel free to shoot me an email and we can set something up and we can take care of all the food, the housing, and get after it.
That can be fun. I've never hunted black. Like, what do you like? When you said give me boring rain and cold temperatures, I got 3 kids under 5, so it reminded me of the character Sadness from what's that damn movie? Oh God, Inside Out. And she's like, there's joy, there's sadness, there's anger, and there's disgust. These are the 4 traits of the personality. And sadness. Joy's like, what makes you happy, sadness? She goes, a cold, rainy day where my boots fill up with water and I'm cold and and Joy's like, what the hell? Like,
what's wrong with you?
What's going on here? These remind me of sadness, but in a positive way.
Yeah.
So that's just a little silly. But it's funny because we talk about like health a little bit. We had some episodes where like we're running, Derek's playing soccer and running, Greg's doing all these rucks and walking a bunch.
Cool.
Tyler is walking a bunch. Everyone's like doing stuff to stay active because we realize like we need to have a semblance of at least cardiovascular fitness to be out dragging a whitetail because you'll blow up a lung, like I almost did. You blow out your back or something. Like it's not going to be favorable. But that being said, like I really enjoy running in the hottest of days.
Yeah, that's your thing.
Like,
You're you love to
suffer.
sweat it out.
Yeah, I just like the harder the better. I really appreciate. I think like even in hunting, like give me the harder hunt. Like let's drag a canoe 500 yards through grass first. I don't care. Those are indelible, impressionable, memorable experiences that you won't soon forget. So I the older I get, the more I realize. First of all, that's a different quote. The more I learn, the more I realize, the less I know. But the older I get, the more I realize, the less I remember. Like the stuff I forget is a lot. I have no recollection of mundane bullshit. No one ever remembered the Call of Duty game they played, when they were in college drinking beer on the couch on Sunday morning. No one remembered, like, you remembered the hardest stuff. You remember the grittiest times. Like, those are the things that are, I think, memorable.
Absolutely. I remember somewhere along the line, somebody told me something similar to that, like do the thing that's most memorable. And it was I was in college working at a paper mill where my dad worked, and I had like worked 6 in the morning, 6 at night, and a friend had texted me at like 7 p.m. like, hey, this band is playing in Milwaukee, which was like 2 hours away. They start at 9. You want to go down with me? And I was like, I had to go into work the next day at 6 a.m. And I was like, what time do you think we'll be back? I don't know, 2. I was like, what am I going to remember? Getting a good night's sleep and going into work, like having a great work day, or like having this experience? Yeah, let's go. And
there might be a fine line between responsibility and memories, but okay.
I was a college hire. They weren't expecting anything. Warm body.
Yeah.
No, I think so. To your point about like, give me the cold, dark, dreary days and let me chase blacktail.
Take the experience over comfort every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those cold. I love the cold. I mean, I train every morning, and I purposely wear sweatpants, sweater, beanie, so that it feels like I'm in wrestling mode when I train. So it's like training in a sauna. If you want to break a sweat, just go ahead and do that. But I like hunting preferably in the cold, but yeah, when it's dumping rain and it's the rut, it gets crazy over here.
I don't know much about like Southern Oregon where you're at, but
Yeah.
is that like like Pacific
Because
Northwest,
you
like
guys
like
have 4
rainforest-ish
climates.
kind of stuff?
You have 4
Yeah.
climates in one state. Like you can go
Yeah.
to the top of the mountain, get snow in July. You can go to Smith Rock at the desert. You can go to the rain for like you got it all.
Oh, everything. Yeah. Oh, it's like a rainforest. So if you've ever walked in a rainforest, that's how thick it is, unless it's logged. So yeah, unless you get deep in the backcountry, it starts opening up. So if you guys want to go on a difficult hunt, we could pack in pretty far. That won't be a problem.
All right.
I mean, that's what I'm game for, honestly.
And if you guys do make that trek, I'd be happy to pack your whole buck out. So that is an additional bonus.
I mean, I wouldn't really let you.
I appreciate the offer.
Yeah, like sorry, I got to have that suffer to earn it.
No
Like,
worries.
I'm gonna enjoy the meal a lot better if I do all that bullshit.
You kill it, you
Perfect.
haul it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I always offer it, but I love the pack out. My buddy just shot a 6x6 bull elk this last year, and he called me, and we went in at 10 p.m. Got the first load, which was 2 quarters, done by 3:30 a.m. Went back in, got the other load, and finished by 6 a.m. So from 10 to 6.
Wow.
Yeah, when you knew you're gonna suffer a lot, like those are stories.
Locked in. Yep.
Those are the stories, and the timing of the story matters. To say like, oh yeah, we didn't get back till 6:30 a.m. after 2 loads. That's a story, like it would be stupid if you're like, when we waited for the best conditions, and no one cares.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Suffer some more,
and that's a bond you built like with you're already friends with this person, but like that's something that you two can just look at each other and be like, remember that? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's unforgettable.
Yeah.
My buddy Joel and I, who like I think I've talked about on the podcast most episodes, there was a time we were younger where we would be like, let's see how stupid we can get on this hunt and how lost, stuck, beat up we can get. See that marsh down there? Let's go into that marsh. Like we got stuck in this marsh for like a couple hours. We thought we made it to the other end. We popped out like 5 yards from where we started, and we're like, what happened? Like a vortex. It was not good. But we're like, yeah, high five. We did stupid stuff.
Nailed it.
Yeah, we suffered.
That's cool.
No, that's cool, man. And Oregon's a different place than Wisconsin. You guys got lots of terrain, lots of climates. It's crazy. What are you cooking that up with when you're done? Like, let's talk about like, you've packed it out. Now you got this blacktail. I don't even know how big those things are.
A mature one can get close to 200 pounds, depending on how old it is.
That's hefty.
Ultimately, I would say they're probably like 140 to 200, probably in that range. In terms of cooking, we're a huge fan of burger. My son eats all of my meat on my plate too, but burger works pretty well. We do steak every once in a while, crock pot. I mean, you can do sausage, but burger is kind of the choice in our household right now. But it's awesome. And I'll tell you what, Okayest Hunter, if you were to ask my buddies in terms of blacktail hunting, I should change my name to Okayest Hunter, because I'm the one in the group every time. Whatever the first legal buck is, they all let me go.
Let them at it.
I should change my middle name to it, because they were all laughing actually when I told them about your guys' company and I was hopping out podcast. They're like, man, you should just be a part of that company, because that's what you do. So I'm like, they always let me have first dibs, especially if there's a fork and horn or spike. So,
well, people crap like that. There's just so much and like negativity that can run through the veins of social media and the comments and so forth. It's like someone will say they're a meat hunter, and then the other guy will be like, bullshit. Go to the grocery store. You're not really eating all that meat all the time. Like if you're actually meat, blah 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 blah. So like,
I don't know. I got a deer and a quarter gone already out of the 3 that were in my freezer, and the other 2.
But then there are some of us that really are meat hunters, or you will go through them. You'll go through it. You really will. And my kids are the ones that would like to. My wife is the tricky one. But buy a good cookbook and learn some fun recipes, and you can maybe convert a non-eater into it. But once you get into it, it's fun. It's fun to learn how to cook it more. I love that. I've enjoyed that process so much. Like even to the point of where like I got a smoker grill for dummies. I went and got a Pit Boss pellet grill, and I say smoker for dummies because you just set the temperature and walk away, and it's burning wood pellets, and it's you can smoke all sorts of stuff on that without having to actually own a smoker. But I can also kiss it with some flame and open the vent up to get some fire on it or whatever. And it's that having that contraption has really helped me with cooking wild game. Because I don't gotta I know Greg's got his Weber charcoal, and I think that's fine. I have one of those also, but then I gotta get the coals going. It's a whole different process.
With the kids,
It's already a
especially,
process
it's
as
like,
it is.
man, I got to think about this an
Yeah.
hour ahead of time. And I think it's interesting what Linden said. Like, my kids are getting a little bit older. We're 6 and almost 4 now, my two. So they're eating like venison steaks a lot more than they used to. But when they're younger, like, you got young ones still, and Jude. But like burger was like the best way to get that, make something for everybody. Because like when you're little,
chili or hamburger helper or something.
Yeah, tacos, whatever
Spaghetti.
way you can do it, spaghetti. That's what we always did.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, we're getting back into steaks. Let's go, which is some onions and mushrooms.
Yep, the good stuff.
Yeah.
Have you guys had canned meat at all before?
I have. There was an older gentleman out by me.
You mean spam? No, I'm just kidding.
No. You pressure cook in canned venison, and it comes out like super duper tender. It's awesome. Like it's a meal in a jar.
Explain this to me.
There's nothing to explain.
What? No, I need to understand. I'm not.
You know what a pressure cooker is?
Yeah, we have one of those.
It's literally just like cubed up.
It's cubed up venison meat. You put it in a jar. You add salt. There's things you can add to it, but
you put the raw meat.
Raw meat.
Or you cook it first in a pressure cooker.
No,
that's what
cook.
I'm getting.
You cook it. It cooks itself in the jar under pressure with heat. Google it.
And then it seals.
It seals. Okay. So it does multiple things at once.
It's removing oxygen from the equation.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to worry about contamination.
Mm-hmm.
You're cooking it with the heat, and then it's canned, so it's preserved.
Correct.
For a long time.
For a long time. And
for a long time. Okay.
Yeah, you can eat that stuff several years old.
I would definitely recommend canned bear meat. It tastes like, if it's prepped well, especially with a little spice, it tastes like a pulled pork ribeye consistency.
Really? That I've never had, but
that is my favorite way to have bear.
Does anybody in our listership have canned venison that I can try? I'm in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin.
Ooh,
I want to try this.
Tell you what, we're gonna
or
can
teach me
up
how
some,
to do it.
We'll can up some venison this year. I have a pressure cooker and I have all that stuff.
We really should do that. Canned venison, and see, as soon as I saw breakfast from Calder there, what Linden said, bear breakfast sausage is by far my favorite processed meat of any wild game that I've had. That's my favorite
because it's greasy like a pig.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just a little bit different taste. It's not like venison. If you made like a venison
the bear
breakfast,
has been preserved correctly, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like dirt. Not
like the head of my bear.
Oh, that was
the rest of it made it the head, not so much.
That sounds good.
I took care of the important part.
You did.
What was I going to say? I was going to say something about this whole can situation.
The can situation is good because if power goes out and your freezer shuts down, you got canned food.
Yeah, you literally can open it up and warm it over a fire, or just eat it the way it is.
Well, now we're gonna have a prepper on our show for a survivalist episode. And the guy's probably got a bunker in his yard with cans of venison.
I think we know a guy.
Jeff, is he one? Does he have a bunker?
Jeff
Vance? No, that's just conspiracy stuff.
No, wrong guy. Totally wrong guy.
We love Jeff. I'm just saying. I might peg him as someone that has canned venison, and he's in Wisconsin. Anywho,
aluminum foil hat and all.
Yes.
So, Linda, now I'm a little bit curious about the canned bear meat. How does the bear tags and bear hunting work out in Oregon where you're at?
Yeah, because Oregon's a different part of the country.
Well, and Wisconsin has a very interesting bear hunting setup and system. So I'm always just curious.
And then there's Montana.
What does it look like for you guys for bear hunting?
Yeah, so for bear, fall is pretty open. In fact, you can get 2 tags if that tells you how many bears there are.
Yeah,
they are flourishing around. Spring is definitely drawn depending on the unit. It could take you 1 to 6 years, just depending. But Southwest, where I'm currently at, it's kind of crazy. If you look at where all the tags are allotted, it'll show Eastern Oregon. It'll say maybe 100 tags for unit 17, and then you look at Southwest Oregon and they issue out 3,000.
Oh,
so if it gives you if you look at the game regs and you see spring bear and you look at all the units, there's a 1 chunk unit of Southwestern and you see a huge amount of tags, and there's a reason for that because there's pretty healthy populations. They sell out pretty quick because I think the reason they sold out last year is because at the state of Washington, you can't spring bear hunt. So I think a lot of those guys,
Yeah.
everyone just started piling from Washington to come down. So they sold out. But fall, you can get 2 tags for whatever, $20. And
Holy crap.
As a resident.
yeah, as a resident. For non-res, I don't think I'd have to double check. I think for bear, it's not too spendy. I know for elk, it's about 400. My brother lives in Washington, so he hunts elk in Oregon all the time. Yeah, I'd have to double check, but there's a lot of opportunity for bear, especially in southwestern Oregon.
Cool.
So we could double up on that if that's something you guys want to do. If you come deer hunting,
Yeah, I was going to ask, like,
definitely
for a
double up.
non-resident, is it pretty affordable? Like, I think getting to Oregon's affordable. Like, it's not Alaska, you know. Seems like
I'd have to double check. Yeah, I'd have to double check the prices. I wouldn't think it's too much because they're trying to encourage people to come here and hunt bears.
Sure.
Yeah.
As
But
is
yeah,
my-
we could double up. You know, if you guys came down in October, there's a plethora of areas to hunt bear the same time you're hunting deer.
All right, we're coming.
I have some serious.
Yeah,
I have some serious FOMO.
we need
Fear
to
of missing October.
We need to have a discussion after this podcast.
Correct.
A serious
For real.
discussion.
For real.
Just pour up another bourbon, and we'll.
No, there's
we'll
no
buy
bourbon.
That plane ticket tonight.
Bourbon doesn't even need to be involved with this. This is a serious adult conversation.
Never had one of those.
Yeah, we got too many
I'm
kids.
nervous.
Damn it, Junior.
Grandpa Greg.
I'm on daddy daycare here. Every conversation is no, yes, no. Calm down. Oh, you calm down.
I don't know. I'm very intrigued.
Yep.
Very intrigued.
That first bear that I have a picture of in my book was actually during deer season, and it was in October. That 350 pounder.
It's a good bear.
That's a good bear.
At 20 yards standing up.
Whew.
So we were actually hunting deer, and then it just kind of happened to be like that. It just, bear season as well. So it worked out pretty well.
I'm showing your book from Amazon here. Right, this is. I pray this is correct. It says your name.
That is correct. Yep. Yeah. You can scroll down, and it shows like reviews and.
Is that the
right there?
only,
There you go. There's some reviews. Yeah.
Is that the only place we can get
Jim
your book?
Shockey reviewed your book?
So I got
Aaron Snyder, we know him. He's a good dude.
I was pretty fortunate to get some people to really support the project. So I really grateful for everyone that really helped out and hopefully spread the word.
Great reviews too, man. I'm getting this book from myself and from my father, just so you know. So thank you.
Thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Hopefully you can find something of value in there.
I'm sure we will, my friend.
Yep.
That's cool. You should. Our YouTube channel has Aaron Snyder giving away some of his okayest moments. I think there was one he shared where he was sprinting through the woods because he got embarrassed that he was lost with his friends. So he sprinted for some very long time to get back to like the cabin and then walk back. And they're like, "How did you get over here? And why are you all wet?" And he's like, I don't know. I just wandered over there. Like he didn't really come clean. Like, and then he just shared with us on our like, I don't know, this like video series of okayest moments. And I tried to get okayest moments from people that like Aaron Snyder that you would think, no way, that guy has okayest moments. He did, and he shared them, and they were pretty funny.
Does, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Getting turned around, getting lost in the woods. That's pretty common. I got turned around one time gun hunting on a plot that I've been to for the last 10 years in a row. And the area that I was hunting was pretty close to like one of the roads. And somehow within the first 3 minutes, I was like, I have no idea where I am on this particular. I knew where I was. I knew I wasn't lost, but I was so turned around. I was like, where is my damn spot that I'm trying to get to that I marked? And I was like, and it happened again last year.
It's infuriating.
A different spot. I'm
It
like,
is,
what
drives
is going
you
on?
nuts.
When it's pitch black, you just, man, it's ridiculous. So being in big territory, I'm a little worried for myself in some cases. Like, I don't know how I ever got my way through the Northwoods, by the way, guys. All I had back then was a compass.
Plenty of logging roads.
I just only had a compass. I didn't have technology back then. It just was a walkie-talkie and a compass and a hope and a dream and a prayer that I would get back to my dad's truck at some point in time.
The poke and hope.
Whatever it takes, my friend.
That's
Whatever
right.
it takes.
Good chat. What other tidbits you want to share about the book that could benefit folks just in general? Like, I don't think you can overshare here, because anything you can share, obviously there's a whole book to read. So unless you can read the whole thing verbatim, I don't think you have to worry about oversharing what's in there.
Yeah, I could take a while to share this. I would say I think what's going to be surprising is, there's definitely some ideas and strategies for exercise, sleeping, and nutrition, but chapters 5, 6, and 7 have nothing to do with those. And I think that's where some of the hidden gems are. Not that I'm dismaying the others, but I'm pretty excited to see what people think of chapters 5, 6, and 7 that have to do with, improving your mental health and so forth during the off season, that can make you a killer during the season and also help you obviously experience more opening days. But there's a lot of different protocols on there. I mean, ways to crush anxiety, like using codes or numbers for that, helping with gut issues, getting off meds for type 2. There's a little of everything. Improving hormones. I mean, the list kind of goes on. I try to come at it as many different angles as possible. PTSD.
You have 73 things in the subtitle. 73 ways.
Not 5 ways. 73. So it's going to be in depth.
Yeah, it's
Did you start with it? Did you let me get a list going to see how I can put this book together? And then you were like, shit, I got 73. I should probably write this thing.
Yeah, it didn't quite go like that, but it was actually originally 50. But then working with the publisher, we kind of adjusted a few things.
You need more than 50. You need not a whole number.
Somewhere between 71 and 74.
Yeah. That's how it worked out.
50 ain't enough. Like you gotta those are rookie numbers. You gotta pump those up. Let's go here.
That's basically what my manager said. Yeah. She's like, you're gonna need to ramp that up. So we made a lot of modifications to kind of expand it. And honestly, you could probably take one of those ways and write a book in itself. The idea was just to give a glimpse and, to get someone to think about it and maybe go out on their own and maybe expand upon each of those. But ultimately, it is 73. At the very back of the book, you can see a big list. And in between each one, there's a lot of other details that's not listed. So I think that's where some of the goodies are too.
Yeah.
But it's all over the map, definitely.
I think that's what's so beautiful about, you're right. You have, you were talking about your professional, your career and what you do in, your academic career.
You're both educators. How about that?
You're into nutrition and how your body works, right? Is that what you were into?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the way you put this out and you frame it for the hunting mindset, makes it accessible to this population that, in my eyes, that here in Wisconsin, the older generation of hunters and some of the younger generation, we're so stubborn, we don't want to change what we do. But this is for hunting. This is to help me hunting. So maybe it's
the
good.
doctor tells you to stop having salt.
Yeah.
The hell with that doctor. I'm not reducing my salt intake.
He said no salty fries.
No salty fries. That's bullshit. I'll do more salt. You tell me no, and I go the other direction.
That's what it is, right?
It's there's this age bracket of stubbornness. It's incomprehensible. Where I'm like, dude, when I get that old, for the love of God, take me out of my house and put me somewhere comfortable so I can play cards with the good old boys, like I'm back in college or something. I don't have to have that much pride. It's okay. I think we're picked because you got to deal with. We're all going to have to deal with our in-laws and our parents in a certain manner. And I tell you, when they cross that threshold into the old timer age, when they're senile, not giving a shit, it's going to get real frustrating. So we can,
no doubt.
We just make that part of life a little better.
Already there.
No, but really, that's what I was saying is the way this book is framed and you've attacked these things, I think is in a really, really good way to say, hey, you're a hunter, I'm a hunter. Let's kill some stuff, but let's also take care of ourselves, people.
Basically, yeah. It would have been pretty easy just to make it for the general public, but I really wanted to niche it towards the lifestyle I was raised in and taken to camp at the age of 2 and shooting bows, and I just felt like it's given so much to me. I just was I just feel like I can merge some of my background with this community and hopefully provide some value, and that's took the leap of faith kind of thing.
So how's it going so far with the book, in your opinion? I don't know what it's like publishing a book. I know people that have published books. We've talked to some other authors in the past, and I've talked to a couple in the business community and whatever. But when did it launch, or when did it get published? Where can people get it? How can they get it? I'm a big Audible guy, and I know that's a whole different lift when you publish a book. That's not part of just a book out there. Like, it's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
I'm happy to read books on Kindle and Audible. That's where I do it by and large, because that's accessible for me. Like Kindle in the bed at night, Audible in the shower and the commute or whatever, walking dogs. I'll crush books that way. My wife, you can't get away from Audible. I think she's read 3 books this week. She's a freaking psychopath.
Dang, getting after it. Okay.
She's like walking around with headphones. She's like, I'm gonna listen to my book. Is that okay? I'm like, what are you listening to? Like, what is this book?
What's really in those headphones?
Yeah.
Let me listen. What is
She's like, I think I'm listening to a crime podcast. I'm like, okay, what's going on?
Oh my God, if she does that, her and Ashley are never going to be.
They're going to be plotting your
man.
demise.
I'm a little worried.
When I get home late from something, I'm like, where are you? I'll text her because none of the lights are on the first floor. She's like, I'm in the basement watching Dateline NBC. Or watching murder mystery.
Yeah, but I'll come home.
She's
Today
like,
I walked the door and I hit the knob. And she's like, oh, I thought for sure we are gonna get murdered. I was like, what are you talking about? It's the middle of the day. It's
all
me.
about murder.
We have a Ring doorbell. I was walking in.
I'm telling you guys, there's going to be a new flower bed somewhere in the backyard that you don't know about, and all of a sudden,
I'll know about it, but you guys won't. You have to come
Why
find
do you
me.
have so many pics all of a sudden?
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, no, but where can people get the book?
We're trying to comment on your book.
Yeah.
Hey, no worries. Yeah. So you can find it on every platform. I was pretty fortunate. The publishing company I worked through, they placed it on every one you can fathom. So Barnes and Noble, all of them,
Cool,
all
okay.
the different countries. And so you can get it in any format. The only version I didn't do was an audiobook, but I might do that in the next 6 months, kind of as a second wind.
Would you read it, or would you have some talent read it? Do you know?
I would like to do it. Yeah.
Cool.
I would like to do it.
Good
So,
for you.
yeah, that might be kind of a 6-month thing, but I would say one of the misconceptions with a book is when you publish it, you think you're just going to be sitting back, and it's
you got to
quite,
promote the shit out of it. That's why you're on our podcast.
yeah, yeah, it's quite the opposite. I think I'm pretty busy for the next
Turn into a market. You go from an author to a marketer real quick.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I had a good marketing manager and a bunch of people on my team that were helping me out, and I'm going to be busy for the next year and a half. It's looking like, just from everything setting up. So I'm pretty excited just to connect with others in this space and hopefully kind of get more involved. And that was kind of the objective, and provide a little bit of value. But essentially, you can get it anywhere. It's Amazon, Barnes and Noble.
Do you have it printed too? Like, can I get a paperback copy of it?
Oh yeah.
Or is it only? Oh, okay.
Yep. Hardcover, paperback, Kindle.
All right. Well, that's where
so we should make sure we bring our copy to Oregon when we go do our combo black bear blacktail hunt and have you sign it.
I want it signed.
There we go.
I want it signed in blood. When we pack one out,
down.
I want it signed in blacktail blood.
Oh gosh.
Is that weird?
Is
that weird?
Sign that?
It might be a little weird. It might be a little extreme.
I don't think it's weird.
It's not weird to you, but it might be a little extreme to others.
I've never displayed a book open before, but I might for that one.
Well, you have to let the blood dry.
You got a pen?
So-
No, I got some blacktail fur. You want? I can sign it with that.
This is gonna be a badass trip if we can make this happen.
That would be sweet.
Oh, we'll just have to get our videographer to come with too, and then we'll really make something.
We'll
out
find
of
somebody. I don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
I'll sacrifice it.
Hey, Jace.
Oh, no, you guys
I know
don't
you're listening.
actually-
I'll
You wanna
video.
come
I
to
don't give a
Oregon?
shit.
Marinetto Media.
There we go.
Hey, I got 3 or 4 people that I can get to film it, so that won't be a problem. You guys just got to pack your gear and get over.
Let's go.
I got a pack already. I got one. I got a
My
friend.
barrel's still cooling down from January, so
Are you so spot and stock
You're
sounds like
ready.
an option, but like you're not hunting out of a tree stand or a saddle when you're hunting these things, are you? You're just on a ridge. You said rifle, so like I'm happy to just we just came from the Vortex place.
We're pretty
I'm pretty
amped on
hopped
getting some
up right
now.
optics, some training.
yep.
Yeah, you can. I typically most in that area, if they're gonna tree stand hunt, is probably late season archery, just
Okay.
because then you have those patternized trails and you put game cameras up and you have the timing. With these, they're definitely sporadic in terms of gun season, so it's really hard to kind of catch the same ones in the same area unless it's a mature one and you've been watching for maybe months or years. But yeah, I would say hunting ridges, lots of glassing, spot and stock, It's rugged country in certain areas, definitely.
Good.
But we can get pretty far back away from people, and I mean pretty deep. So we'll definitely, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think I ever brought my plane in for landing on the question about like meal prep with these things. So I've never had a blacktail. Like you talk about burger for your boys and stuff like that, but
It's a deer.
what-
you eat
what-
it.
It's probably
Yeah, but,
probably
like, what-
pretty darn
do you
similar.
think it's like a whitetail?
It's gonna
Like,
taste different because it's not.
like what's the deer
egg
that
fed.
eats a lot
It
of
quarters
steak?
like a
egg fed.
whitetail. A
It's eating
deer is
browse.
a deer is a
and
deer is a
moss
deer.
and browse, right? What is it eating? Moss and browse.
It's gonna taste peaty like my scotch.
It might. Only if you eat the hocks.
I'm gonna try a Scotch marinade on my next.
Scotch marinade.
I would say it's pretty similar to whitetail. I harvested a whitetail a few years ago in Idaho, and it was tasted pretty similar. I mean, it's gonna be a little bit smaller depending on how mature, but yeah.
What do you got there, Greg? Trail cam pick?
I'm just showing you.
Bust out his phone in the middle of a podcast. He did that. He did that on our drive up to the archery shoot. Is that a buck?
Yeah,
It's a huge doe.
big,
That's your
big
cell cam.
old dough right there.
Huge doe.
Note for future: don't check your cell cam post during a podcast.
Sorry, Linden.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
The big boy on Gregory's phone.
We're just getting excited for whitetail season.
Not
over
saying
here in
nothing.
Wisconsin.
Mm-mm.
You
Nope, it's
just
just
did.
a lot of does.
Live.
Huge doe.
The camera's pointed
Lot
right
of
at you.
venison.
That's the biggest forker I've ever seen.
That is a big.
That's at
Yeah,
least
look at the forks on that
13 and
thing.
The shirt, as the crow flies, the crow is pretty small in contrast to the
It makes
tines.
This would work for that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
almost the same. Is it the same bug?
It might be. AKA also known as Forkzilla.
That's his name. He's Forkzilla.
It's Forkzilla.
Oh gosh.
Why'd you call him Forkzilla? He's got 15 points.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of bone there. A lot of fuzz. A lot of fuzz. Ah, my
Yeah.
goodness.
Now you're going.
I'm gonna just.
You went from blacktail to whitetail
Real
quick.
fast.
Yeah, you didn't even beat. You're like, what blacktail? You're like, we need to have an adult
No, I'm
conversation. And then
serious.
4 seconds
I
later,
want to go
you're
shoot a
like,
blacktail. I want to go to shoot a mule deer. I want
This
to.
on your shirt right here. Get the camera to pull in on that.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do with Linden here.
Yep.
Bear, blacktail in the mountains. Let's
Oh,
go.
perfect.
Boom. Done
It's
deal.
gonna be beer camp
There
over
might be
in
some
Oregon.
beer. We'll get the balance for Linden. We'll get
We can haul that in. We can
we'll
make that
balance
happen.
you out.
God, that'd be cool.
we just did a talk at BHA Wisconsin chapter, and it was about balance. It was about
was.
family and hunting. And oddly enough, my little guy, my middle guy, was in the ER on Friday night. He had croup and he couldn't breathe. Because if a kid gets croup, I forget what the adult version of croup is, but his airway's so small that it was like closing in.
And you get that really
And
weird
he's
sound.
going, like he couldn't
wow.
breathe. And then he was coughing and he was panicking, and it was like creating this perpetual situation. And then his blood oxygen levels were like at a 90. So I was literally sped to the ER. Got him there, and thank God I got him there. They gave him steroids, which is a whole different problem that I have to then deal with because he turns into the miniature Hulk. But he was pretty terrified. Where the hell was I going with this? Oh, so then the next morning I had to. So from 12:30 to like about 3:30 to 3:45 a.m. I'm awake. I don't think I fell asleep till 3:30, 3:45 because now I'm dealing with a steroid child. Even though we got back home at 2:30, like he took a long time to fall back asleep. And then the next morning we're driving to Wausau, Wisconsin. What was that like? I think we spent 3 hours in the car.
Because you drove to my
collectively.
house.
Yeah.
It was probably 3
3 hours in the car.
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours in the car to then give a talk on family
Balancing
balance and hunting. I was
family
like,
life.
well, I'm here talking about hunting after having dealt with a family situation all night. And this is par for the course go hunting season because what happens in September? First of all my kids' birthdays are September. Second of all, they all get sick because they go back to school.
But who cuts their own self open and goes to the ER?
Okay.
Oh wait, that was you.
I had to go to the ER because I sliced my finger open. That's a different story.
On a broadhead, nonetheless.
They're sharp as science allows. I don't want to hear
They
it.
were sharp. I'm good. I'm glad to hear your broadheads are very sharp.
Yeah. Well,
Cut on
that one
contact.
was until it went off into the wild blue yonder.
Cutting at the molecular
never found,
level.
never to be found again, mind you.
I
See
hate you
ya.
guys.
Peace out.
Anyway, so I was giving a talk about balance, and I was like, well, there is no balance. That's the reality is there's no balance because it all is just happening. So anyway, I don't know what the hell I was talking about. Balance. And I think that there is a argument had about like balance is important, but I also think like you have to keep it into perspective because it's relative. And depending how you build your life, things can go out of balance really quickly when your kid is going to like stop breathing and you got to take them to the ER and like you got to deal with that.
Yep.
Shit happens and you got to roll with the punches. I don't know what else I was going to say there other than I did a display for the As the Crow Flies shirt. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with any of that.
Linden said something early in the podcast that kind of clicked with me, and I'm going to bring it up now. Linden, you won't experience it until like your kids get a little bit older. You definitely know it. You know it. Oh, Linden, yeah, you.
Yeah.
But you were talking about perspective, and like you mentioned Owen, the younger guy you knew, and like how like those big situations, like you don't think about those every day. And like my day to day, I just started doing like I'm at home with my kids all day for the last 3 weeks. And when I'm at home with them, like constantly all day, every little problem in my brain is this giant freaking problem. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. And like it's in my head. Oh my God. And like, it doesn't matter. Like you spilled some bubbles.
Boy, you're going to get a whooping. Yeah.
I paid 99 cents for that 2-liter bottle. You spilled some bubbles on the ground. Like it doesn't matter. But like that perspective issue with like your kids, especially, like I'm struggling with that.
That one is hard. You got to let things go for sure.
But you know what I mean? It's like all these little things.
Yeah.
Just be happy for what you got.
Linden. So and I've said this out loud more times than people care to effing hear it, but like Stoic philosophy. I don't know how much you know about Stoic philosophy and like memento mori, where like live every day like
Where's
you could
your
die
toga?
Tomorrow.
You need to start wearing a toga.
Yeah, I would love that.
Next podcast.
Yeah.
There we go.
Comes out.
And your Lord boards.
But they have this mantra of like, you could die. Everyone could your loved ones could die tomorrow. So you should really live today as though like there isn't a tomorrow. And to even make that it's one step further, every day you've lived is now dead to you. It's gone. So
are the bubbles.
Like I have 37 years of death behind me, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I have how much ahead of me, and the further you get in life, the less alive days you have.
Mm-hmm.
That really helps me keep grounded. And to Derek's point about like, oh, you spilled this, you done that. Like, I will tell you, the carpeting in our family room is at a level of like complete and utter disgust and full on embarrassment of bringing people in our house. I'm happy to have you guys here because I don't give a shit what you guys think because we're close now. Anybody else, I'm like, there's
we
no
come
chance.
to see you, not your house.
There's
Just
no
remember
chance
that.
someone else.
People who give a shit, you go to see
And
them,
I'm like,
not their house.
but does it, in the grand scheme of things, how much does that matter? If my kid and at this point, I'm like, well, it's totally screwed. So like, go ahead and dump that orange juice. I could care less. Another puke pile showed up from who knows what animal because we have 4 of them. I don't know which animal puked.
No, you have 7.
Is it worth stressing about?
You have 7 animals.
Yeah, our kids.
About 3 years ago.
Feral.
About 3 years ago, for Ashley's birthday, her parents got her a carpet shampoo or vacuum, and she was like, "It's my birthday." They're like, "We just thought you may want it, you may need it." She was
They were
like,
telling you, what they were
heck?
really saying
Dude,
is,
I use that
we
thing
smelled
like
animal
every
puke
other day.
somewhere in the carpet,
Every other day.
and we think you should have.
I'm
this.
shampooing that damn carpet because something's puked, pooped, pissed.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Most loves this. That's my best.
My
Cats
son will
are
open
great for
the
that.
patio door from the living room and pee
Terrible,
out
yeah.
onto the patio. And I'm like, cool. Well, you couldn't find the bathroom. That's not the bathroom, buddy. That's the patio door.
Hey,
And I'm like, I can't be mad about it because these are the days I wish I'll have back at some point.
when
Like,
you're under the age of 5,
Yep.
the world is your urinal, and that's just the way it is.
yeah. Anyway, so balance is a thing, but I have a unique perspective on balance.
Yeah, I think with kids, it's always interesting because there is always so many things that are going on without outside your control. And I've had plenty of times where, there's 17 things going wrong at the same time. And it just takes a lot of practice to step back. No one's perfect, but I think some of the things that have definitely helped me is stepping back and thinking it from, let's say when you're 91, will you be thinking about those 7 things that went wrong in the kitchen? And for me, like, you probably won't be. So if I can like really internalize that number 91 and be like, when I'm 91 years old, am I going to be mad that my son just broke my bow? I probably won't be. It's just an item, and items can be replaced. And, you know, even if it happens before my hunt, or, I mean, think of this, we're just literally on this planet spinning in this unknown universe of this huge galaxy, and we're like this tiny little bacteria that's just kind of hanging out, residing here. And I think if we can look at that perspective a little bit more, then sometimes when things don't go our way, maybe they're just not as
Yeah,
significant.
if we could all fly to space and look at the Earth and be like, wow, that
Just a
argument that I was
speck.
in today doesn't effing matter at all.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
It-
exactly it. Yeah.
Again, the perspective side. There's some, I don't know if it's some stupid influencer on social media or some, who knows. It was pretty cool. I did appreciate it. To your point about being 91, if I make it that far, if I got to travel back in time to, what am I, 37 now, where my son peed on the carpet and the dog puked and my daughter knocked a lamp over and my other son like shit on the deck. I don't know, all at once. Like, and I was an asshole.
That's a nice
all
little-
around.
That can happen
That's a
around
nice
here.
Tuesday.
And I
Yeah.
Great Tuesday.
typical Tuesday.
It was a mild Tuesday.
Hashtag typical.
No big
But if
deal.
I go back in time and I'm like looking at my phone or I'm doing like, and I watched myself as a 91-year-old, would I be like, you idiot?
Hey, dumb
You're
shit, get
missing
off
the
the phone.
point."
Get off the
Like,
phone and see what's going on
exactly.
over there. Watch the
Exactly.
chaos
Like,
ensue.
Yeah.
Kids spell love Time, and they don't give a shit what it is you're doing. They give a shit that you're doing something with them and that you're
Correct.
present together. So even like, oh, I don't want my kid watching screen time. It's also good to know that you're just actually together. If my daughter's in the same room as me, at some point when she's 16, 17, 18, she ain't going to want to be in the same room as me. So if she just happens to want to watch some Bluey for 10 minutes, so be it. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah.
spectrums of concern that I think you have to. This is a whole different topic, but like the moments that I get to have with my kids outdoors are so powerful. Like Derek had his son out on a tree stand with him when he shot a doe, and he prayed for the deer to come closer, and that happened. That was real life. And I
was
think your kid
unbelievable.
actually literally said, "Dad, is this real
Is
life?"
this real life?
And like
That's so cool.
that is monumentally incredible. So when your kid's pissed at you, you're pissed at him, he spilled bubbles or something. Like, think back to that moment for a second.
And it is like kind of similar to the 50-year thing that Linden was talking about. Can I do this? Is this sustainable for 50 years? In 50 years, will I give a crap about
That
any
thing.
of these
You
little
just won't.
things?
But in the moment, yeah,
It's a
you're
good
gonna
way
have
to look at it.
emotions.
Either way, it's
Yeah.
like take your
Yeah.
immediate perspective and
Zoom out.
extrapolate it,
Zoom out.
right?
Yeah.
Like zoom out and figure out what's important. And that's important in every facet, not just your nutrition, not just with your kids, but everything.
And I'll say, as the OK Sunner, someone that's trying to like level set against expectation versus reality, like, how important is that buck on my wall? This, like, meh.
Pretty important.
Who-
It's pretty-
To this guy.
I don't know. At the moment, it's not. But someday when my kids are older and I can compete with them, then it'll change. You know, Dad, you got a lot of spikes. What's the deal with that? Why isn't your little ass? Change all your damn diapers. You want to talk about that for a second? Let's go, buddy.
Remember all those venison sticks and
Yeah,
venison
yeah.
burgers and all that other stuff you liked eating?
Yeah.
That's where those went.
Let's turn the ignition on this bitch real quick. Let's see who's really gonna show up, son.
Oh man.
Anyway, good chat. This is
Yeah.
fun. So people can get the book anywhere other than Audible for now, but that may change. And I'm assuming as this thing hits the market and people become exposed to it, you're going to gain some feedback, and maybe you'll dive deeper and do another book. Has that been in your mind?
Yeah, so it's funny you asked that. I'd actually started my second one in January before I'd even finished.
Just wait a little longer. Get some more feedback. You really will get.
Well,
will tell you
I'm
here.
actually, yeah, I love feedback, so I hope I get a bunch of it, you know, the good, the bad, and in between. I hope I get a ton of it. This second one actually has nothing to do with health, but it's within hunting, and it's never been written before, so I feel like I'm destined. I don't want to use that word. I feel like I am meant to write this specific book for the hunting community, so I've been getting after it in that regard, kind of on the side. So
Cool.
Crazy. Good for you. And this one will be done in a year.
you know, it's not science related, so it's not probably going to take as long, but yeah, I'm excited about it just because it's definitely it doesn't have to do with health, but it's still within the hunting, you know, space. So, It hasn't been done before, so I just feel like I'm gonna need to be the person to do that. So
No, that's
That's
cool.
exciting.
And thank you to your mentor for letting him use your use his space with the really cool animals in the back.
yeah, I'll let him know. Yeah. It's a sweet setup. Every time I come in here, it just gets me all jacked up, and then I go back home, then I repack all of my packs, and then here we are. Yeah.
Nothing. I just
Nothing.
don't worry about it.
Looking
Yeah.
Something I got to take care of.
You sit and practice this trigger squeeze on your rifle in the basement.
Basically, yeah. My son comes in, he grabs my trekking poles, he's holding my shooting pad, he's getting all ramped up, and yeah.
cool.
Yeah, my wife built a canoe out of our nuggets this afternoon and gave my son some paddles because he wanted to go on a canoe adventure to go deer hunting. So that's what we came up with.
Cool.
Cool, that's rad.
Cool. Well, thank you for being on the show. We appreciate your
Yeah.
time for being here. We'll end the live broadcast, and this will go into podcast land this evening as per usual. And everyone that commented and calls tonight, which is totally fine, but everyone that was watching live, thanks. If you want to watch live and participate going forward, check out our YouTube. That's where you can do that, and we'll see it. We're live on Instagram, but I can't reach my phone. So, but I can see my computer screen, and if you're on YouTube or Facebook, I can comment back and all that jazz. So, appreciate your time tonight. Thank you. Stick around for just a second here while we end the live broadcast, and everybody have a good night.
See ya.
Adios.